Morning, friends. We're now beginning the descent into the grandest of canyons, the Grand Canyon.
Woo!
Going from the North Kaibab Trail down to Cottonwood Campground today. Then tomorrow, Cottonwood Campground to Bright Angel Campground. And then we're taking the slow way out. It's not the official AZT. It's a couple more miles, but it takes the elevation a little bit more gradual. And we're going up Bright Angel side, spending a night at Indian Garden, and then working our way out. So
For me, for the old woman.
we have 2 7-mile days ahead of us going downhill, and then 2 4 or 5-ish mile days on our way out. Looking forward to it. So the Arizona Trail Guide that I'm using states that, of course, the plateau rose up. Kaibab Plateau, Colorado Plateau rose up. And the Colorado River came through and cut through that whole plateau to make this beautiful canyon. They say that this process only began about 6 million years ago. I think that what they meant is that's when the river started flowing through, which is like a blink of an eye in geological time. So this actually is a pretty young geological area, but a lot of the rocks seen through all of this date back millions of years to billions of years, with a B. So as we descend down through these layers, I'll try my best to point out when there's a change. I'm no geologist though, and I just read a crash course in it this morning, so I'll probably get something wrong. But
At least you're trying.
at least I'm trying, and at least I mean, it's better than just saying that that's a rock. I believe that this around us is Kaibab limestone right now, which is only found on the north rim of the Grand Canyon, because the south rim is actually 1,000 feet or so lower than the north rim. And we're eventually going to start going down to some sandstone. So the cool part about limestone is this whole area actually used to be on the edge of the continent where the ocean was coming up. And the limestone is formed by all the old sea creatures, their bodies falling to the bottom of the ocean, and eventually pressures force that into sedimentary rock, as they call it. And the limestone is their, shells and things like that, so you can find all sorts of fossils in it. It's really cool. After that, we'll start going down into some of the sandstone. There was actually a massive desert here that was very much like the Sahara Desert, and those dunes got compressed into sandstone. Go figure. Looks like we're still working our way down through the limestone. There's actually over 4,000 feet of sedimentary rock in different layers going down into the canyon. It's kind of amazing. And there's completely different geology at the bottom. That's actually very, very old. The oldest rocks in this canyon are called Elves Chasm Gneiss or something like that. It's a type of gneiss. It has elves in it, I know that much. And it's 1.86 billion years old. Crazy. Ooh, tarantula hawk. It's following Dad. He's on Dad's bag. Ooh. Oh. I'm helping you, I promise. So you can actually see the separation of the two layers here. Below the Hermit Shale layer, and below this we have the Supai group, which is kind of a conglomerate. That's Kaibab limestone up above. The cool thing about the limestone is it's very resistant to erosion, so it makes these great cliffs and spires. Beautiful. The mudstone makes more of these slopey hills that you see because they get eroded much easier, because it's basically just really compacted mud. You can now see we're definitely in this dark red mudstone part of the canyon now. You can definitely see it across the way, how it starts to slope down instead of those dramatic canyon walls up there that are made out of the limestone. There's actually a small little crack over there. It's kind of cool that it definitely differentiates the two layers. All right, friends, now it looks like we're getting down into the Coconino sandstone layer of the canyon. It's starting to get a little more steep again. As I said, the erosion doesn't act as much on the sandstone as it does on the mudstone. So, doing a few more switchbacks and getting down into this. It's really pretty. Trying to find a good example for you to see where the sandstone is. Like, here's some huge slabs of rock. Those huge flat slabs are indicative of sedimentary rock because it's over time these layers slowly get compressed. So this is kind of cool. On the north rim, on the North Kaibab hiking down, they have these search and rescue boxes. At least this one's by Supai Tunnel. And inside, there's a bunch of emergency stuff. And it says that, you know, if you use this, you're not going to be charged for it, but you need to tell them that you used it. You need to carry out your trash with you and all that. It's kind of cool though. Just in case you end up in a bad situation. Smart. So in the first couple of miles, we already went down 1,500 feet of elevation, and I know I've gone down several hundred more since then. It's a quick descent, but dang, is it pretty. We're going to be crossing the Manzanita footbridge pretty soon, and that's kind of close to our halfway to our camp for tonight. So now crossing one of the big footbridges that goes over this chasm beneath me. I'm pretty sure I missed my layer of shale, sadly. Or I could be wrong. I'm really bad at my geology right now. That's one of the things I'm trying to get better at. So I believe that we have now made it down into the Supai group, which is a blend of limestone, sandstone, and mudstone. So here in the sandstone, you can see these drill marks. And what these are from is when they built this trail, they would drill down to put explosives inside of the rock to blast it apart. Let's see if I can find one up on this wall. Maybe not. There are a lot of them on the Bright Angel side, where you can see the halves on the ground and the halves up on the wall, where you can see they drilled down. They had to do a lot of work here because it's just huge slabs of sandstone. So in order to make it a walkable path, they had to do a lot of work. The first European guy to go through here, it took his expedition 6 days to go from the Colorado River up. And he actually had to swim his band of horses across the river. There wasn't even a bridge or a little car or anything like that. Had to swim it. And that river is fast and cold and big and deep. It's risky. A lot of people's blood, sweat, tears, and probably even some people's lives went into creating these trails. And to them, I'm very appreciative. And if any of you are listening, even the trail crews from recent years, thank you for what you've done. Because this trail is beautiful, and you've done a great job. So here is what I believe is the Grand Canyon Cross Canyon pipeline for water. That pipeline connects the north and the south rim to Roaring Springs, which we're actually going to walk past today. At least the side trail to it. That spring is extremely reliable. And sorry, just went uphill. it brings all the water for all of the water spigots across the whole canyon and all of the backcountry campsites. And I'm really excited to walk past it, but that pipeline, just about every year it breaks actually, and there's a multi-million-dollar project that they need to undertake then to find where the hole is and to repair it, just because it's such difficult terrain. There's this big old spire of sandstone. Looks like it could be limestone as well. Just gorgeous. I think that this is then Redwall sandstone that we've made it down into. It just continues down, down, down. It's just gorgeous right here. Wish you guys could be here to see it. Imagine how crazy this waterfall must be when the rain's all flowing. It's crazy. Crazy beautiful. Heading down to that riparian area all the way down there. Ooh, got some switchbacks coming. Love me some switchbacks. Oh, here's one of the drill holes.
Oh yeah, I see one here too.
They blew up this rock. That's what I was talking about earlier, guys.
So talk about a window to your world.
This is crazy. Here's an example of some shale. It's really, really light and flaky. You can tell that it's a bunch of little tiny pieces that have been squished together. That's very, very evident. Like here, if you look closely at the rock, all these little pieces that are glued together. We're now walking next to what we think is Bright Angel Shale. So the second layer of shale on this adventure. Below this we have Tapete's Sandstone, and that's the bottommost layer before what they call the Tonto Bench, which is basically this big shelf that's right in the middle of the canyon. It separates the outer gorge from the inner gorge where the Colorado River is. So here's all this really flaky shale right here. And just above it is this sandstone. So you can see how quickly it just transitions. And truly that represents, you know, a difference of complete biomes, and that has millions of years of difference in time on this planet. So we've continued down our way a little bit further, and of course someone's messaging me, but here's Roaring Spring, that big waterfall over there. You can literally hear it roar. Crazy.
The canyon is still being formed.
Yep, the forces of nature are still working on it.
Yep. Nature's a bird.
So we are continuing on down. We have about 2 miles until our campsite.
Woohoo!
Looking forward to it. Oh look guys, my old friends the junipers. I believe made it down far enough now that I'm around the starting elevation for the AZT. So I've essentially lost all the elevation I've gained over the last 6-ish days. Tomorrow will be 1 full week on trail. It's been awesome so far. Absolutely am loving it. Learning so much about myself and the state. It's, you know, a whole new perspective. Walking across the state rather than driving. And then it's really weird when you walk to a place that you've driven before. That's a weird experience. Here is Roaring Springs, which is a huge waterfall, as I talked about before, it supplies all the water across the canyon. Here's my view of it right now. And we get to walk down this stream all of tomorrow and a bit of today. Really looking forward to it. Got some prickly pear down here, even though they absolutely don't exist up on top of the rim. It's an interesting microclimate that's created by this. There are actually hundreds of endemic species that are only found in the Grand Canyon or the surrounding canyons, just because there's the wind that comes through down here, probably what you're hearing right now on the camera, and that pushes the warm air from the bottom of the canyon up onto the plateaus where it's really, really cold. It's called the edge effect. When I was camping up here a couple of years ago, I was standing out in the middle of the woods, stargazing in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden there was this drastic change in the temperature of the wind. All of a sudden felt like I was just hanging out in a hot tub, like warm air just blowing at me. Really strange. Really cool if you experience it though. And the plants and the life down here and up there take advantage of that effect so that they can expand their own range, and that also pressures them to evolve in different ways for a higher rate of biodiversity in this area. We're almost down to the pump house. It's about 0.25 miles away. I'm looking at it right now. And from there, we have another 1.5 miles to our camp. So we're almost through today. Almost done with all the downhill. Woo!
I'm done with that downhill.
That downhill hurts. You wouldn't think it, but after 5-6 miles of it, your knees just start aching. It's worth the pain though. But every time this canyon, as my father would say, takes a little bit of flesh. Going over Bright Angel Creek right now. This is what we get to follow all day tomorrow. So it's gonna be nice and gradual. We've already lost close to 4,000 feet of elevation. Where we're camping, we'll have lost 4,200 feet. And then tomorrow we lose another like 12 to 1,400 feet over 7 miles. 7 miles is what we're doing today too. So same distance, but literally a fifth of the elevation change. So should be a little bit easier tomorrow in preparation for our hike up and out of here. And then we're taking that nice and slow, as I said. So it should be a great trip. Finally made it down to the Cottonwood campsite. Now we just have to find which spot is going to be ours. All right, guys. So right now I'm preparing some cheese enchilada ranchero. It's a vegetarian meal from Open Air. I got this brand because I realized that they were the cheapest in the game and I could order them pretty much in bulk online. So it makes it a little bit easier, but this plastic trash is really, really bad. So I'm only doing one of these every other day for dinner when I'm out on trail, aside from when I'm in this canyon, because I wanted to go as light as I could and as calorically dense as I could because of the elevation. But I'm doing this entire trail vegetarian just to show that it can be done and that it doesn't make you weak, it doesn't, take anything away from you. You just need to plan it a little bit. You need to think about your nutrition. And everyone should anyways, because we live in a time where we can. Food is medicine, And you need to use that to your advantage to accomplish your goals. whatever they are. So right here I have my Vargo bot, and this is my cook pot for this entire trail, and I absolutely love this thing. It boils water super fast, and it has this sealable lid that I have flipped upside down right now that doubles as both a cooking lid like this, and it can seal up so I can cold soak if I want to. It's really cool. And this titanium boils quick and cools quick, so that's something you consider. And now I'm getting rained on. That's cool. Really cool. Okay, be right back.